still had morals and a conscience, but it wasn't strong enough to overcome what my addiction was.
Yeah.
And it took me places that, I wouldn't wish anybody.
The New Jersey Innovation Institute is the conduit that connects one of the nation's leading polytechnic institutions, New Jersey Institute of Technology, to the outside world. Created to leverage the vast resources of NJIT, the New Jersey Innovation Institute is focused on fostering innovation, building companies, and upskilling New Jersey's workforce. NJI employs over 100 people and generates over $35 million in revenue per year in industries such as defense and healthcare. To learn more about the innovative strides being taken at the New Jersey Innovation Institute, head to njii.com.
Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you feeling overwhelmed by lack of capital, growth challenges, or personal branding? You are not alone. UCS Advisors is here for you. We're professional capital raising advisors committed to helping you secure funding and grow your business. Are you ready to impress investors? Check your investor readiness with our free 45-second quiz at ucsquiz.com. We believe in you. Visit ucsquiz.com and start your success journey. And remember, always be willing to achieve your greatness.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We're here at the Room in Verona, New Jersey with Fil Santos. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having Mike.
I got your name right.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know why I was like, did I just fuck that up? Like right out of the gate? No. But it's okay. Yeah. But this place is really cool. I think it's like we were texting yesterday, and it's like so ironic that we have two bald guys in a hair salon.
I know.
But, why not?
We're here to get it fixed.
Yeah. I mean, we could do the beards. I feel like that
beards are good. Absolutely, it's all we got left, so that's what we're gonna.
I know. Yeah, and other parts too, but that's the story for another day. But no, it's great to finally like get you out because we've been talking about this for forever, and then also like running in similar circles with like Drew and Jamie and all those. So I'm excited to finally get to talk to you and like learn more about you because I know it a little bit. I feel like just from what I've seen through the Chop Week podcast, which we'll talk about eventually, and just like other stuff that I see on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited. So let's talk about the Room first, because this is one of your businesses. We'll get into like all of them as we kind of progress through the episode. But how long has this been here? Why a hair place? All that kind of stuff.
Why a hair place?
Yeah.
Well, we'll start so the Room's been open. We opened up the Room in 2016. It was actually across the street. Small, narrow, 5-chair facility. We primarily do women's hair there. Me and my wife opened it up, and it's going to be 2 years, January, that we came over to this place. And in the front is the hair salon, and over here is our education academy, Gang.
Okay, cool. What is that?
So essentially when we get assistants from schools, right? They get a cosmetology license, they come to us, and we were training them, and usually we had to like close down the salon on a Sunday or Monday and have the training here, and we have other salons too. So we figured, all right, the easiest way is to make our own education facility here where we could train them. We don't have to close the salons.
Okay.
So essentially they go through a boot camp. We show them pretty much everything they need to like get on the floor to start like that. And then we also have advanced education for all other hairstylists.
That's cool. Like a feeder program, essentially.
Yes.
That's really cool. All right, so I want to learn more about you, too. So you're a Jersey guy.
Yeah,
you told me off like Harrison, right?
Harrison, New Jersey.
It's like right outside of Newark.
Yep.
Like, take me through that life experience, because like I've never lived in a place like that. So talk to me a little bit about that.
So, well, I was born in Newark, which is, Harrison's 1 square mile, so it's like really small.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by Newark and Jersey City. So we're like right in the taint. You know what I mean? Essex County, Hudson County. But we belong almost more, it's Hudson County, but belong more to Essex because we walk right over the bridge. We're in Newark. So I grew up, I was born in Newark. My parents are Portuguese immigrants, first generation. Like I said, we moved to Harrison, I think, when I was 5 years old, and it's a typical working class town.
Yeah.
You see New York City, Twin Towers in the background, train, go to the city, very, very urban life. And, I gotta say, like, I had a great childhood in the sense of like my parents went to work every day. They kind of just let me roam around.
Yeah, yeah, and just so like that's really cool, especially because like now too with Newark and like the Portuguese community there, like the food is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we went to a thing at the Newark Museum of Art recently, and then went down to the Ironbound and Seabra and like those other spots. Oh my God, it's
There's a lot.
crazy. Yeah, it's so good. So Portuguese, like what were your parents doing as Portuguese immigrants?
So my dad came here and he was a baker. He worked at Pector's in Harrison. He was a baker there for 30 something years. My mom worked in some factories for. My dad worked as a baker, and my mom worked in a cookie factory. So I had no chance. It was just downhill.
Yeah.
Every day, it's like free bread, free cookies. And it didn't work out very well, right? I was chubby, right? I'm with you. I've accepted, right? So they worked doing that, and then my mom eventually started cleaning houses, right? And it was kind of like what the Portuguese did. It's either construction, factory job or something like that. I have no brothers or sisters. It was just me. But back then, like, you would walk to school with everybody on the block. Again, it's a small town. So it was a couple blocks away. And, like, it was good, but I got in a lot of trouble, too, because I didn't have any. I wanted attention because I didn't have it. And then I had, I wanted significance. And I looked up to the older kids in the street. And, you get attention by doing dumb shit.
Yeah. Like what kind of dumb shit?
At first, look, I remember it started like as soon as I moved to Harrison, I would just like do anything. Stealing was the thing for me, right? Like little things, cars and stuff like that, toy cars, right?
Stealing.
I was at 5. That happened later, but just like mouthing off, like typical wise ass shit.
Yeah.
Then my parents put me in Catholic school because they're like, this is definitely going to be better. That was worse because all the bad kids went to Catholic school.
Sure. Yeah. Try to get them.
Yeah. And I was into skateboarding, right? That was my thing. So I was always in the city at Brooklyn Bank skating and, developed like that. And it was fun. And then at some point, drinking and partying came into it and drugs. And that's when I just like, everybody went home and I didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
So it escalated at that point.
And like, that's really interesting too, because it's like the attention side of it, and like feeling like important.
Yeah,
absolutely. All that kind of stuff. And it's like ironic because like your parents come here and then like are working their asses off basically for you and then, the family.
Yep.
And like, just kind of like interesting kind of how those like systems kind
It's ironic.
It is, yeah, pretty ironic. But so like I know a little bit of the story just because of like stuff that I've listened to before.
Sure.
So like obviously, like the initial stuff led to more and more and more, and like what you were describing when I listened to the episode of Chop Meat, like the amount of stuff that you were doing like in a day is like I can't even like wrap my head around that. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take me through like as you're kind of progressing through, like you didn't want to go home, like you said before. So like obviously like things start to get, you get deeper and deeper into it. So take me through like kind of like the early stages of maybe like when you were like, maybe I have that issue. Yeah.
So I'll say a little bit of the why of what I think that I don't know. So like I skated, I played the drums, I was in bands, I was in the city. Doing drugs was kind of cool. My idols like Kurt Cobain, was kind of like my idol at that age. At that age, I'm 15 or something when he passed away, and I didn't the 27 Club. Like I idolized getting high. You know what I mean? I was like, this is what you need to create art or be an artist. It was false, but
sure.
And so like. I didn't see it, but I also saw friends or people I knew walking over the bridge, getting harassed by cops, in and out of jail all the time. And I was like, I'll never be that guy. And then I fell into it. And then what happened was like, it was fun in the beginning. I wasn't like, I want to sign up to be a junkie, right?
Sure.
It's weird because my story is like, I watch Basketball Diaries, right, with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm like, that's my fucking story. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Without the fame and Jim Carroll band, right? But I was like, wow, and it played it so well. But what I mean by I didn't want to go home was like, in the beginning I was having so much fun,
right,
that I was like, I don't want the party to stop.
Yeah.
Eventually the party is not a party anymore. And so it escalates to it. And it went from like, being social and everything to like, next thing you know, I'm getting locked up all the time, right? I'm shooting heroin. I'm on the methadone clinic. Next thing you know, it's like 2 decades doing it. I'm in the projects more than I'm at home. Like I know everybody. Like I'm in hallways. I'm like just running and gunning. Like I still had morals and a conscience, but it wasn't strong enough to overcome what my addiction was.
Yeah.
And it took me places that, you know, I wouldn't wish anybody. And you know what though? Like I knew the drugs were bad, but I also got caught up in the lifestyle.
Right.
Like a little bit, and my surroundings was like either this is what you do or it's cool, or there was like I glamorized it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It is interesting too. Like we talk about how like you have like the moral compass too, you know, and like it's like you don't sign up to be a junkie. It just like the party doesn't stop, and eventually that party gets kind of crazy. But like so you said 2 decades. Like when did it start? Like for you?
Just drinking and smoking.
I mean, like what age did it start?
Well, I was gonna say like it was probably it's all right. It was maybe like 12, 13.
Okay.
And by the time I got clean, was 33.
Yeah.
You know, like completely clean was 33.
Yeah. And then how old are you now?
I'm 45.
Nice. Yeah. I'm 33, but
Baby,
go there.
you can start right now.
Yeah. So what I also think is really interesting is like when we're talking about, you know, like this life that you're basically like a previous life that you had and now this life that you have. And it's like the business, like how many businesses do you own right now? Because you have rental properties, you have like small businesses like this. Like so how many, you know, things, how many balls you got in the air at one time?
I got a lot,
Yeah.
right? But it's not overwhelming or nothing like that. Like, so we have 9 salons. We have 8 in New Jersey, 1 in Miami. I have a tattoo shop. That was my first business in Harrison. And then about 50 apartments.
Yeah.
Several buildings. And then I know there's other stuff there too, because we went vertical. We have the education and everything, but more or less that's what.
Yes. It's like, I think it's what I find fascinating too is like from like redirected energy almost. Like obviously the energy in that 2-decade span was on the wrong side.
Directed it.
Yeah, directed on.
I'll agree.
Yeah, and now like I think it's so cool to see like now it's pulled in a different direction and just like how like intense and just like to scale it is, you know, like to kind of put that energy into something that's like a little bit different.
Yeah.
And now like kind of seeing success from that. Like, have you always been that way? Just like a man of extremes, basically?
Man of extremes, yes,
Yeah.
right? Like even from little, I had that, like I couldn't stay still.
Yeah.
Right? And they would try to diagnose me as something. And I just really believe, looking back at it now, traditional school and everything, like I excelled at school. Like I was smart where I didn't have to test. And, you know, like went to Catholic school, got kicked out, and high school went to public. And then I was in AP class and everything. Not because I did the work.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wasn't like this book nerd, but like they actually put me in classes where I could engage. I had physics and I could actually measure stuff. And so I was always, you know what I mean? Sports, I still snowboard, snowboarding, motorcycles. In that sense, I'm an adrenaline junkie, right? Like, so I always needed to feed that. And then on this, I don't, see the thing is like, a lot of people will say, like, hey, you exchange one for the other, or you just focus your energy. And I'm sure some of it's true.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that got clean and didn't.
Right.
So it's not like a definitely,
Gotcha.
right? It's more of just like, I got clean, and then I had to change my mindset because I did have it in me. And I think most people just genuinely do.
Sure.
And then I found out how to focus on something and actually put my all into it without knowing the outcome. Because I was really good when I knew the outcome. Like I never skipped a day of not getting high. It was very painful if I did, right?
I can imagine.
Like unless I was in jail or something like that. So I was I'm very competitive. I get what I want, and not strong arm or something, but just like if I want it strong enough, I'm gonna go get it, right?
Yes.
And I believe in manifestation and stuff like that. I think it's a culmination of things, but yeah, I look at it as an asset now.
Sure.
And like, cool. When I first got clean and drugs, black sheep, you don't talk about it. I'm in recovery. And now it's like, it's almost becoming the cool thing to do. Like, be sober, don't drink, don't do drugs. You know what I mean? Like clarity, mindset, and it is an asset.
Yeah. The entrepreneurial side of it. So I'm also interested in like that family dynamic too, because like your parents come here, like you said, they work in factories, they do like all that kind of stuff. And then I feel like the American dream type of thing is like, my son's going to go to college, he's going to get a good job, he's going to like work, and having a house, a family, like the whole kind of thing. And, not necessarily like an entrepreneurial side. Like we had this guy, Dave Vieta, who also was this chef in like Asbury and Woodbridge and all that. And his parents were Portuguese.
I know. He has Lido.
Yeah. And like he's a friend of mine now, but like it's like he grew up in Elizabeth, so like very similar, right? Mm-hmm. And talking about how like he was in law school and was like, I want to cook now, and they're like, what the fuck, man? Like we built this whole thing for you, and now you're gonna go do like be a chef? Like they wouldn't talk about that. And I think like that's a really interesting thing too, because it's from like they come here, they're working their asses off, and then like the entrepreneurial side, like where do you think that came from? Because obviously, if they're working factory jobs, you're at a bakery, like there's not really like an entrepreneurial thing there.
Yeah.
Like so, where does that come from for you?
I'd say most of it. The answer, like my mom.
Yeah.
So what happened was, tight-knit Portuguese community. My uncle started a credit union back in the 70s to help Portuguese people put their money together and buy properties or whatever, cars or whatever. Like, let's put them as a credit union. And then it eventually became a savings bank, and that was obviously my father's brother-in-law, and he helped my dad, like, hey, let's buy some buildings together. So they bought the one in Harrison, a 10-unit. That's where we moved, and we ended up taking care of it and living there. Yeah. And then bought one in Jersey. So I saw that already from an early age, and I had to learn, because I'm the only one that spoke English in my family, how to do leases, how to fix stuff, how to like I learned that, right? So that's where the real estate came in. And then one day, one of our tenants, we had 2 stores downstairs, and like they left, and my mom's like, why don't you open up your own thing? Mind you, at that point, I'm strung out. And I'm like, you really think that's a good idea? I really believe she was just like, I could keep an eye on me.
Sure.
I really believe that's what it is. Yeah, I know where you're at. You're not disappearing. And I was like, cool. What's the scummiest business I could open up? I was like, cool, tattoo shop. This is at the time, right? I was like, this is right up my alley. My friend had one. I hung out there anyway. I was like, this is great. So I opened a tattoo shop 2010, I believe now. And no idea. Like, I know how to build it out and everything.
Yeah, like I'm sure you had a couple of tattoos.
Yeah.
More now, but like you got a tattoo artist.
No.
So you just said like tattoo shop, we're gonna hire people and figure it out.
It was I'm gonna figure out. So I tattooed a little bit already, right? I had a gun, I was messing around, I was not good, right? And I was like, wow, there's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I wanted instant gratification. And I built it out, and I hired some kid. He's still my friend today, Dale Convoy. He's in North Carolina, I believe now. And he moved up here, and he had a southern drawl, right? And I was like, it's not like I had other candidates. I was like, congratulations. I hired him, and it was a shit show.
Yeah.
I was getting high, the deal, you know what I mean? It was literally like some biker movie, you know? And, but had my mom not pushed me, suggested whatever into that for whatever her motive was, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. Like she always wanted me to do something on my own.
Yeah. Did you, so you have this bit, and you still have that shop, right? Which is, I think, really cool, because that's seen kind of a lot of seasons of your life since 2010. Did you have, when you went clean or got clean, was there like a moment of clarity, or was it more of kind of just a progressive thing where you're just like, I just can't do this shit anymore, you know?
It was this big bright light. No. Came down. He was like, help there. Moment. So for a long time, right, I was just institutionally in and out of jail all the time. I was in a bike gang, 1% club, right? I was like the B character in a movie. That was me, right? But I was like, damn, I'm getting tired of this shit. I'm like, was cool. Not even. It was just like, I'm like, damn. I wasn't scared of dying. Not like that I was brave, but like, I was more scared of, fuck, I'm going to be stuck like this forever. Like I was petrified, right? And I was like, what do I do? And I tried everything. I was on methadone, which is like, you got to go to the clinic every day, take it. And then I ended up getting high anyway. So then I got 2 habits and I'm all fucked up, right? Yeah. At that point, I'm like 280 pounds because of the methadone makes you big too. Now I have this girl, she's got 2 little girls that I'm raising, right? And she gets pregnant with my first, and she's getting high too, by the way, right? Yeah, right. We're all just like banging out, and I'm like, so I started getting tired, right?
Yeah.
I knew about Narcotics Anonymous, in and out all the time of the rooms, new people. Then I started to see some of my friends get clean. I was like, damn, that motherfucker is worse than me. How the fuck did? Because the easy ones, I'm like, you're a pussy. You're not shooting through. You don't got track marks like me. You're not even in jail. Because no bullshit. Like you start, it was either like you're not as bad as me or I'm not bad as you. So on that end, it was that if somebody's eating out of a dumpster, I'm like, at least I'm not homeless, because I could hustle. So it keeps you in a fucked up spot. So seeing them get clean. I'm going to meetings again. Eventually, I was like, all right, and I stopped. And it was November 4th, 2011. But right before that, my son was born, and he was born addicted. So he had the University Hospital in Newark. His mom was, nothing on her, but we were just getting high. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And he had to stay there for like a month and a half, 2 months in the NIC unit. I went every day. I went after I got high first, right? My priorities.
Sure.
And people were like, oh, you got clean because of your son. And I'm like, I didn't. And I love him. That's my boy. I love him to death. I did it. I got clean, and I knew it too. Like I had to get clean for me first.
Sure.
Because I couldn't sustain getting clean for my son, and then he's good. So I got clean for me first, and then I could take care of everybody else. And that's kind of like how it unfolded with that, where eventually I got full custody of him. And my wife now, I've been with her 11 years, something kind of like, that's mom. He kind of knows the story and everything.
Right.
And, but yeah, it was consequences didn't work. I got 18 felonies. That didn't work. You know what I mean? I had warrants in Florida. Like it just, after a while, you're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to be, I did have a hole in my spirit, right? Where I threw everything in there and I couldn't get filled. But I knew like once I did it, something switched.
Yeah. So this is my last question before we break. In the second half, we're going to talk all about, now stuff. But so I want to bring it back to the family dynamic. Did that ever, did the family support system, did that ever just kind of be like, we're fucking done with this. We're done with you. Like, we just can't do this anymore. Like, what was that relationship like through that part of your life?
Sure. My parents did the best job they could. My parents were great parents. They really were. They enabled me. They should have. You know what I mean? Like this is, I took them hostage. I was like very aggressive, very violent. They feared for their lives, right? I didn't listen. Maybe I pushed them and shit. I want to say I never physically attacked them. I'm sure I did under the influence and shit. And but they never fucking gave up on me. I'm gonna tell you that much. They didn't. And even my aunts and uncles, and then I have people in Europe and everything like that. They did what I did, which is like keep me at arm's length. They're like, it's cool, but we're not inviting you.
Right. Yeah.
2 things. First, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And then second, I was like, all right, I understand. So they learn, you gotta, and I have friends that still get high, and I create boundaries.
Yeah.
Whether they wanted to or not, but they were, listen, some people be like, you're lucky your parents supported you. On the other side, it's like, well, they enabled me, so it lasted longer than just throwing me out. I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah.
But for mine, they definitely, as much as they could. It came to a point, though, right? After I started really, I would get locked up twice in a day sometimes, right? I was just sloppy. And then they were just like, you're sitting there. And I would threaten them through the phone, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. You're locked up.
Right.
And the biggest thing is they would be like, listen, we know you're safe in there.
Yeah.
Being in jail was safe to them. For them, for me, you're not dead. Of course, I'm like, as soon as I get out, I promise, just get me out.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it worked. Then they were like, Yeah, you got court in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll see you. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll see you in there. But yeah, they did the best that they could. They supported me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that was a great first segment. So we're going to take our break.
Cool.
We'll come right back. So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We're at the Verona, New Jersey with Fil Santos. We'll be right back.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about the crew over at Make Cool Shit. These are the magicians who recently gave our podcast a jaw-dropping makeover. You know how we roll here at Greetings from the Garden State podcast, right? We're all about that Garden State attitude. Well, Make Cool Shit shares that same vibe, and they've got something absolutely epic to offer. It's called the Unlimited Cool Shit Design Subscription. It's a game changer, my friends. Imagine this, unlimited creativity, one flat monthly fee, and none of that boring stuff. It's like having your very own army of design superheroes on speed dial. Whether you're a fresh startup or a seasoned business looking to shake things up, the team at Make Cool Shit has got your back. It's all about making your brand sizzle, no matter where you are in your journey. So if you're ready to turn your ideas into mind-blowing realities, then it's time to connect with Make Cool Shit. To check them out on Instagram at WeMakeCoolShit or visit their website, WeMakeCoolShit.co. Remember, that's co, not com.
Greetings from the Garden State is proud to be partnered with some amazing brands. A special thanks to LeGrand Coffee House, our official coffee, and Birdling, our official travel bag. To learn more about these and all of our other great sponsors, head to greetingsfromthegardenstate.com.
All right, we're back for segment 2 of this episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We're here in, Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I gotta get used to saying that all over, which is nice. So thank you to the lottery. We're at the Room in Verona, New Jersey with Fil Santos. So first segment, we learned kind of like your early life, like all the stuff that you kind of have gone through so far. But I want to get into stuff that we're like talking about now. We met through Drew at Make Cool Shit. We did like our logos. Like this is a Make Cool Shit, a new logo for us, which is really great. So like the tattoo shop's the first business that you start. And then in that time is like when you get clean and all that kind of stuff. So take me from like you get clean and now it's the entrepreneurial stuff starts. And then like this salons, I guess, were kind of like the next business. So kind of how does that happen? Like now you have the tattoo shop and then starting like more and more and more businesses.
So tattoo shop, and I got clean after that a little bit. And like I focused on getting clean for a year, like no job. I moved in with a friend that was clean. I left everything. My son I left with my parents, right? Like I knew I needed to focus and gather my stuff, like gather my shit together. And eventually I needed a job and I needed health insurance, right? Because I had my son, he's a baby at the time. So I had a couple people who were in the union, carpenters union, and I was good in my hands. I fixed apartments and stuff. So I got into the union, became a union carpenter as an apprentice at 34 or something like that. Which at the time I was like, damn, I'm old for this shit, right? And then you come to find out it's actually the right time. It was one of the best experiences I had. Worked in a lot of cool buildings, a lot of high rises. The Haynes building in Newark, I was there for 2 years. Cool. And I remember going there as a kid. It also taught me a lot of things, which is like how to work with others, what I want to be, what I don't want to be. My foreman yelled all the time. I didn't want to yell, but he put the pressure, so I learned how to time everything, be efficient. It taught me a lot of stuff. I learned the numbers side of it. I got a good grasp on it. And that helped me focus on my tattoo shop and actually make it profitable.
Yeah.
Right?
Did it take like a lot to kind of like get back in there for, how long was it open between when it opened and when you got clean?
About 2 years, 2.5 years.
And was it like just like fucked up when you got back in there?
I mean, like they did tattoos and they made money and whatever I could grab, I got. So there was no, go on the business side, there was no POS, it was cash, nothing was reported, it was that type of shit. I really didn't know it was the trust factor, but I wasn't trustworthy, so like how did I expect them to do it? What happened in that time though, I was always tech savvy, right? My parents did lots of things, but when I was a kid, they bought me an Apple IIc.
Okay.
This is like 86. Nobody even had a computer, and especially Harrison. But because my cousin had one, I had one, and you almost had to learn how to program a little bit. I think it was DOS, and always had computers.
Cool.
And I ran Linux, Red Hat, stuff like that. So I was always tech savvy. I was the social media started hitting, and I started utilizing that for my business. It was Foursquare first, and then Facebook. I started doing ads in 2011.
Wow.
Facebook ads,
Yeah.
Google ads, you know, and there was, when nobody's using it, the CPCs are very, very cheap.
Yeah.
So I kind of like owned the market, and I learned that in the tattoo, and then Instagram came through, and I did Instagram ads. So I understood that really well, and I started to, like, I got into it. Like, I started loving it. I was like, wow, this is fun. I could actually see how many people called, how many came in, the analytics, the KPIs. Like, this is cool. My wife's a hairstylist. We always knew we were going to open up a hair salon, right? Didn't know when.
Yeah.
Buddy of mine across the street at a barber shop just opened. He's like, I got the best place for you. It's next door. And I was like, fuck, I'm not ready. I was buying a house, my first, a 3-family. I was going to propose to my wife, right?
Yeah.
So like,
There seems a lot of expenses there for you.
there was a lot.
Yeah.
So he's like, just go see it. And he was like, listen, it'll work. We do men, you do women. Like, our wives will go you and husbands. And it did make sense. And I was like, we went there. Rent was super cheap. Everything included except for electric, right?
Yeah.
For a certain price. They were there. We had people next door that we knew. Me and my wife were like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Both have that, you know, attitude. I'm like, well, the worst that could happen is I put a security deposit on this house and I have to use it. And so I did put a security deposit on it, right?
Yeah.
And I had to use that security deposit. I'm like, hopefully it drags out. It's 2016. I was working in the Haynes building in Newark, left at 3, ran up here, built it out within 2 months. Me and my buddy who's a foreman, we had a date. So July, we opened up September 20th, 2016, and the house didn't close yet. I'm like, cool, now we have a month to get the money back. And I was like, yeah, and it was just like that. You know, to tighten up that story is, we ended up closing in January that year, but what it taught me, right? The pressure, how to handle it, back against the wall, get creative. Like, you can't buy that lesson anywhere. You can't study anything. And it gave me so many likes. Well, if we did that, we could do this, right? Sure. Like, it's one of the other things that like changed my mindset to like, what else could I do?
Yeah. Where is the money coming from for like the businesses and stuff like that? Like, to get, you know, the salons off the ground first, like you're an apprentice at that time?
Yeah, only the 4th year.
Okay, so 4th year. So, I mean, I've seen my buddies coming through there. So I think, like, maybe this was me asking, but like starting a business, how do you do that? You know?
I'll tell you the easiest.
Yeah.
A lot of sweat equity. So I'm working at the time, I think I'm making $35, $40 an hour, and my wife's a hairstylist. So she's making it too. A lot of meal prepping, a lot of saving, a lot of being efficient. You know, I have the tattoo shop that's starting to produce too.
Yeah.
But I saved all the money and I had it for the security deposit. So I built the salon across the street, maybe at the time for like $40,000. Not in one shot.
Yeah.
I was a carpenter. I knew how to do sheetrock, sanded the floors, painted everything. I look at it now compared to this, it's like, damn, that looks like a little shithole. But it wasn't. It was my shithole. And it was like, I put everything. I didn't borrow, right? I wanted to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Not that I'm sure my dad would have helped me or something, but, you know, like, I had a timeline.
Right.
So again, the pressure helped me just like make it happen.
Yeah. And then was there like a moment with the first salon, which is this one across the street, that you're like, we could do 8 more of these, you know, like it was just.
I don't know if it was a moment. Nobody's like,
Let's do
fucking 8, man. Let's go. We just 10x it.
Yeah. Like the whole thing. People talk about that shit all the time. So like, when do you start seeing, like, you have the tattoo shop now, you have, do you have like ready rental properties at this point?
The one I was living in, which was my first, it was a 3-family.
Gotcha. So that's smart. So you do that, and then now it's like things are coming in and doubling down on like the salon businesses.
Yeah.
Like, was there at a moment where we're like, yeah, let's like do more. Like, we could take on more, so let's just do it.
So, and the salon side, like, we had 5 chairs across the street.
Yeah.
Got really tight. We got really busy. You know, we're like the best salon, I believe, in northern New Jersey in terms of quality, in terms of experience, in terms of everything and education. I got really good on the business side of that, while my wife was more on the art side of it, on the on the employee side. We made a really, really good team.
Yeah.
Where I could focus on ads, analytics, retention, retail, percentages, negotiate with the distributors, get better deals. You know what I mean? Get education for everybody. That's how that happened. We started to like bust at the seams, and in 2019, got reacquainted. I knew him already. We met at my wife's cousin died. He overdosed, so we went to the funeral. My other buddy's my partner now is in recovery too, and he's like, "Listen, I don't know what happened to you when I first hung out with you a few years ago. You seem very angry, very mad." And I would say, "What's up?" But again, the same. Like he's like, "Just didn't want you that close."
Yeah, like, what's up?
He's like, "I don't know what it is, but first you're smiling way too much," right? And he's like, so I had energy around me.
Yeah.
He was saying, and he's like, "Listen, let's have lunch. You got a salon, I got a salon." He had a salon, and he still does in Ridgewood. Let's have lunch. We had lunch in August 2019. It went very well. He's like, "Let's do this every other Thursday." I'm like, "Cool."
Yeah.
By the next one, I was like, "Listen, I got a spot in Montclair I'm looking at. Want to go look at it with me?" It's like, "Yeah." And we went. We just energy-wise, there was no big business plan or, anything written out. And I was like, "Let's do it." We signed it. We opened it around Thanksgiving of November 2019. And 3 months later, COVID happened. And it was like, all right,
Yeah.
what do we do now?
Right. Yeah. I do want to ask about, so you mentioned it in the first segment with like manifestation and kind of just like the energy, like all that kind of stuff. And even this story we were talking about where, your friend / business partner, I'm guessing, like, is just saying like, your energy has totally changed. Yeah. Like, where did that come from? And like, what are some things that you do to kind of keep that positive energy, I guess?
Sure. First, I got clean. That's the easy answer.
Sure.
But I know lots of people that are clean are just angry and miserable.
Yeah.
Right? Try drunks, there's everything. I knew when I got clean, my negotiation, my deal was, I'm not getting clean to be bitter and angry.
Yeah.
For that, I just go continue what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there has to be some sort of benefit. And so that was like my non-negotiable. And then I started seeing other people and started that. And a buddy of mine, I seen his life change. And he wasn't getting high or nothing. Started getting successful, mindset, everything. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm reading these books." He's like, "I'll give you a couple." And I'm like, "I don't fucking really read. I'm more of like, yeah,
Same way.
internet, some shit like that,
Yeah.
audio, cool." Again, back to when I was in school, like I couldn't sit still, right? I could read, but I got really forced myself. But he gave me 2 books. He gave me Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and he gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? They were easy reads. They were good. And I was already getting there, and I'm like, I understand. It has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just what perception is. Then I still seeing him do his thing on Instagram, right? And he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm going. I have 1 free ticket to a Tony Robbins event. It's in Newark Prudential Center." And at the time, I kind of heard about him a little bit, and I looked up. I'm like, "This shit's $1,200. Like, I don't got $1,200. Like, I could get it, but it was not my priority."
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was. I didn't put it there. He's like, "Whoever wants one for free, tell me your story." I typed up. He's like, and he knew it a little bit. He's like, "Yo, it's yours." I'm like, "Cool, I'll meet you there." He's like, No. You gotta go by yourself and sit there, 13,000 people,
Yeah.
and you have to experience it. And I'm like, he's like, "It's easy. It's 4 days from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m." Jesus. It's intense, right? He's like, "Do not go on YouTube and look anything up. Don't listen to nobody. Just show up."
Yeah.
So that's part of my open mind. And I went there, and I was already very open and mindset. And what happened was, it's not so much him as the tools that are available and the other people around, where you're like, all right, everybody else there's positive people, solution-based people, people with energy. You just felt it. So that was a big change in terms of mindset.
Yeah.
Of course, I came out, and everybody's like, "Cool, what the fuck happened to you?" Like, you guys are wearing Nike Cortez and drinking Kool-Aid, some Jim Jones, you know what I mean? Heaven's Gate type of shit. And I'm not really, I believe and I have faith. about religion.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, you're like, nah. And they're just like, but what happened again is like, first my wife saw it, like after a few months, she's like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I like it. You're not complaining. You're like, let's find the solution.
Yeah.
You're not panicking. You're talking about people differently. I stopped, not that I did, like, I don't yell. So she's like, you don't yell, even when I'm yelling. You're like, you're telling me to calm down and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So
they don't like that.
no. It's like abort.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's use the 24-hour rule. She's like, no, we're gonna resolve this now. You know. So that was a big like mind shift. And then what happened is I started making new relationships, new networks. I had to let go of other ones. Not like they're not value or anything, but it's a different chapter in the book. You can't bring the other chapter with you.
Yeah.
And I think other people started noticing that. And then where I grew up and I was like, nothing happens for me. I have no opportunities working class. Now I'm like, I see it. I was just like so closed-minded or just, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
People are coming to me more with opportunities, everything.
Yeah. It's crazy, like, as you're, like, you know, I feel this the same way. Like, we're talking about some of the stuff that I've been kind of going through and or doing and whatever. And it's like the energies and, like, the stuff that you kind of just start, like, putting out into the universe, like, it's, like, freaky.
Real.
How real that is. And, like, as soon, and it's even, like, the people that you start surrounding yourself with, like, if they're vibrating at the same frequency as you or similar, and just like we start meeting more and more of those people, and it kind of just
escalates
to heighten your own self. You know, I think that's really like a really cool thing, and like I 100% noticed that, like no doubt. Let's get back to COVID happens.
Yeah.
The world goes to shit, and like so, then what? You know, because I feel like you're like a yes. And now what kind of guy? Yeah.
So right before I met my partner and everything, and he actually was like, this is right before it happened, so it's like November. He's like, you know, I've been thinking like, you ever heard of Tony Robbins? You ever go? And at that time I read about like 3 times with my wife. And I was like, yeah, it's funny you say that. Like, I'm like, wow, you want to go? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So somebody gave me my ticket. I always pay the ticket forward. I buy tickets for people. So I'm like, let me buy your ticket. I'm like, cool, it's our first trip together. I'm like, we're going to find a lot of stuff out. And it was in Miami. Went to Miami, and he just like, he was a great person already, and it just like put him on another. He's like, he had a partner that it's like one of those relationships that needed to end for whatever reason, and he just couldn't. He left, ended that relationship. He actually gave the guy, he had a salon, he gave the guy the salon for nothing.
Wow.
Right? Because he's like, oh, I want money. I'm like, nah, give it to him one that's good. He felt so good about it. So we're prepared now. So COVID happens, and it's like, cool. Everybody panics. The government, fuck this. It's what they're doing. Meanwhile, we're like, solution-based. It's like, what are we going to do? Cool, let's do some kits right now. Let's reach out to them. Let's make sure all our employees. We actually closed a few days before, March 13th. We actually flew in from Europe as it's happening there, running out of it. We were like in Paris Fashion Week, and they're shutting everything down, every country. And we're like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We just made it. We saw it coming. March 13th was a Friday. We shut everything down that day and applied for unemployment for all our people right away. So our first priority was taking care of everybody. So we were cool with that. Now we're like, cool, we need to, you know, figure this out. And we did, and then we opened up, I think it was June 20th, and there was PPP, all this other stuff. And where a lot of people were just like, it's mindset and perspective. This shit sucks, fuck this. And it did, right?
Sure.
But it's not going to change anything. We were like, cool, what are we doing here? The salon across the street, and the others were, some of them were smaller, so we had to skip a salon chair.
Yeah.
So if we have 5 and they make 100,000, it's 500 grand. If we skip 2, you're at 300 grand. So we created teams where it's like everybody works 3 days a week, longer days, and it actually doubled our revenue because now we could actually hire more people.
Yeah.
So where there were a lot of like, oh shits, it became like, let's get creative. So we actually excelled in the sense of our gross revenue everywhere because we could have double the employees and essentially each chair became double.
Yeah.
Especially when we opened up. And then how we grew too is like we started getting opportunities. Some of our distributors were like, hey, we see what you're doing. We actually have someone that has a salon for sale, struggling. Because COVID hits you either one way. You're like, oh, fuck, and you're going to close, or you're going to excel. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's very hard to be just this. I'm sure you had a career change too. You were saying a little bit before.
Yeah.
So opportunity and went to go check it out. It's in Maplewood. We're respectful. We didn't want to like, she had employees and we're like, and we bought it and we're like, wow, instead of opening up salons, maybe we should purchase the acquisitions. You have employees, you have clients, you have everything, you give it. And that was our first one, and it's one of our most successful ones.
Yes.
And then the next year, like we bought Miami, we bought that salon, then we bought a package of 4 in Bergen County, and the same thing. We started looking at this more like, cool, they brought it to here.
Yeah.
We have education systems that we could bring it there.
Like a turkey kind of thing. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I would imagine building them all from scratch would be a lot of work and a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know?
well, capital too. Exactly.
Yeah. So at what point does, I'm just because I'm curious, and technically they're a partner of ours, like where does Make Cool Shit come in?
Drew.
Path?
Drew's awesome.
gotta talk about it.
Drew is the fucking man.
Yeah.
So right before COVID, the Montclair, he was doing some stuff for Sparrows.
Okay.
To next door friends of ours before. Then they had another restaurant that I loved, Adam and Mike, and it was a real quick like, hey, we love their logo. We're like, hey, we got a logo guy. Drew was kind of working out of his house. He came to the salon, did our logo. I'm like, fuck it, we already have 3 salons, tattoo shop, and some other stuff. I'm like, do them all. It worked like that, and then we started buying more. Then we're like, why are we summing this? Why don't we? I think it was like him and us. He was like, hey, let's do something, and that's when we partnered. And Drew is the brains and everything behind it, and we help him in the sense of on the business side again, so that he could stay creative, right? And
Which is huge in a creative world. As someone who does a creative endeavor, like the business side is something that like seemingly always gets lost with like a lot of creatives. It's just like, money's like so secondary to a lot of that kind of stuff.
We call it the artist curse,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, I'm so artistic and this is all I care about. And it's like, yeah, but you're closing.
Yeah.
You're not doing good. So like, I look at business as an art, right? Like I'm a skater kid. I used to do graffiti. Like I played music. Like that was my my out of everything, right? And I fell into it. Business is an art because it's not like this. It's a surfboard. I gotta like do this and figure it out. And I think that's my asset. My biggest ones is like I could let you do what you do.
Yeah.
And I could be over here figuring else, and that's what I love. And I could be artistic about it.
Right.
The pressure hits me differently. Or when pressure hits me, that's when I'm creative. When it's bland, I'm like, I need something new.
Yeah, I'm
I need
very
to-
similar in that way.
I'm not stir the pot, but I'm just like, because I want to find a problem to solve.
Yeah.
I want the challenge, and but Drew is just like he's special. He's part of the family, and our relationship here is because of him. But he's also good because he's it's very small business. Like he has that relationship, that emotional connection, where it's not just a logo or branding or a website. Like he does it all. He actually talks to you, feels you, and knows how to like.
Yeah, for sure.
He knows how to convert that.
Yeah, that's like the whole process when we did the rebrand for the show was that. And like it was just basically from the episode that we did through when we actually like got it all launched.
Yeah.
Like beginning of October, I think it was like October 5th or something was when we actually did the whole rebrand. But yeah, it was like the same kind of thing. And like now with the production side, like production company side, it's like the same kind of thing. Like let's talk about like what kind of clients do you want to work with and all these other like, and I was like, you're just making a fucking logo. But as to your point, it's like he really did establish as that connection, which I like. So, okay. So like, what's next for you? Like, what's the next problem you're going to solve if you don't know what it is already? Like, are you like looking at other like different types of things or continuing with like what you're doing now? Like when just kind of like continue to expand like the salon business? Like what are you looking to do like next?
So what's cool, like with the Drew thing, how we connected, I have a lot of friends and that are business owners. I have a lot of chef friends for whatever reason, right? And, like we talk about stuff like that. I've done some stuff with some great chefs. I'm like really open to whatever. And I think it's because I'm a problem solver that a lot of people get like attracted to me and the energy, right?
Yeah.
Like I help people in that aspect. In the sense of real estate, I have a bunch in New Jersey. I partner with somebody. We're looking at a project in Connecticut. It's like 202 units. It's way out of my league, and that's why I'm attracted to it.
Yeah.
Right? On the salon side, I think we're good right now. We grew fast, and we have to make sure our systems keep up the pace.
Yeah.
This sounds really good, and then you get 9. That means 1 or 2 are going to close. They're not all going to be successful, and I think it's one of the best learning curves I could get hands-on, because it's like, cool. How do I remove the emotional attachment from it? How do I make the right decisions? Do we start getting C-suite people in, right?
Yeah.
The biggest thing I've learned, right, where I need is everything was funded by our own money, and I start running out of my own money.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because the bigger the project, this. So, I go to a lot of seminars, a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. I've been around the world this last year, Africa, everything. And the type of people I have to be around, it's not money-based, it's idea-based, but it correlates.
Yeah.
Because when you're a problem solver, you're going to get paid more for what you do. So learning how they think lets me think on a bigger scale and removing the money. So now the 202 units, it's like $23 million. I don't have $23 million,
Yes.
right? I don't have the down payment for it.
Right.
But I figured out it's a deal. I figured out how to do it. So I'm working on putting a fund together. I've had some small investors in some of the salons and real estates and stuff, friends and family that I could trust. That's where I'm at now, putting this fund together, because I'm really curious. Just want to see how far I could go.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not reckless.
Sure.
Like the fear of that, I'm afraid of not doing it.
Yeah.
Because also, like, I got the biggest second chance ever. Like, I OD'd, I've been in jail. You know what I mean? I could have still been getting high and roaming around like one of them zombies, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, like, I look at it just like, why would I waste everything that was like, I have friends that didn't make it, right? So I'm going to just be like mediocre or like, don't push hard or this. I hear all that shit. You know what I mean? You're too ambitious, or why don't you just relax with your family and this, and like, listen, if that's what it is for you, but like, you have a short, as you get older.
Yeah.
It's a short time span.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I do as much as I can. And more than anything, like, I need fulfillment in my life. So like, bringing people along with me, watching them get better or do better, like, that's the biggest fulfillment. Keeping myself grounded with gratitude every day, right? It's as simple as just waking up, my feet in the ground, and I'm grateful, but it's also like, that's easy when shit's good. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, thank you, God, for my son and everybody.
Yeah.
But like, when I have to go into a situation and, I feel a certain type of way, all the emotions come up, and and in my head, right? Like, I'm like, damn, I could smack the shit out of this motherfucker right now. Practicing it in that moment, gratitude and stacking, and I'm like, all right, nah, I'll feel horrible after playing the tape. I'll feel horrible. I've gone too far. Why do I want to do that shit? Yeah. He's gonna win if I do that shit. I play the tape, and so like, stay in a state of gratitude, and just like, I used to avoid problems and get into them. Now I look for them to fix them.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I love, it's just like, it's such a cool full circle journey now, and like, causing problems and now solving problems. Before we kind of like wrap it all up, I do want to make sure that we plug the podcast too. So Chop Meat, which is one of my favorite names of a show that I've ever heard. And I think it just like fits so good with you and Jamie. Take me through like why'd you start it, and then kind of like what it's about and types of guests that you get on, all that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna shout out Drew on that one too. Yeah. Like, name, logo. If you're struggling with it, like, Drew he finds out who you are and puts it together. It started off, I always wanted to do a podcast too. And I think it was more just to like practice and get it out there. My first guest was Chef Jamie Knott from the Saddle River Inn, and he's got 5 other, can't even keep up. Bunch of restaurants everywhere. And it went so well, kind of like this, very just like easy. And he's like, can I be your co-host? And I was saying before, I was like, I got to talk to the board, which is me. And, no, but I was like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It was that easy. I'm like, and we scheduled it. That was the biggest thing. I was like, cool. Every Monday at noon, no matter what. And it's a part of my therapy too. And I think when people come, because of our energy, who we are and everything, they get to release too. And, again, like it's, and we were talking before, like the money will come afterwards.
Sure.
Right. Like I really believe like it just feels good and it is good and somebody will reward you, even if it's not money in whatever capacity. And it's definitely one of my passion projects.
Yeah, that's really cool. I remember when I interviewed Jamie, we did it at his house because he was like all pumped up about his brand new basement.
Yeah.
And so we had to do it there. And that was like right around the time when you guys were getting started. So I kind of feel like I've been along for like the whole ride. And this episode is going to post in January. So like we'll also do like the top 10 and re-release the top 10 episodes of the year over the holidays because nobody fucking listens during the holidays. And Jamie's like number 4 for like the whole year, which is really like we've had a lot of really good guests and episodes that we've done this year, which that was really cool. And that was easily one of my favorite ones that we did for 2023. Now we're in 2024 for this episode. So if people want to learn more, like connect with you, your businesses, we could I'll put all the stuff in the show notes so they can go click it. Like, where do you want them to go first?
You can just reach out to me. It's CHOP, CHOP_ Safil, SAFIL. That's on Instagram. I answer all my DMs. We also have the Room Verona. That's our main salon over here. But yeah, just send me out a DM, send me out a text, whatever. If I could do anything, if I could help, like that's like service work is what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Like I love helping people. I love giving what was freely given to me, and I love to connect.
Cool. Awesome. So we'll put those in the show notes so people can connect with you, check out the businesses that you got. Christy, my girlfriend, is like covered in tattoos, so we might have to make it out to Harrison at some point too.
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Put some face tats on her and make her look official.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So we'll put all those in there along with greetingswithgardentstate.com so you can check out all of our other episodes because at this point we're well into the hundreds now. So again, thank you so much for doing this with us today. This was great. Cool spot, cool story.
Thank you, man.
And I'm glad we were able to finally get it done.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see like what everybody else thinks about it. So this has been the Greetings with Garden State podcast, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We were here at the Room in Verona with Fil Santos. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Cool. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.